Candace Owens posted to her story saying she spoke to a source that claims Ryan Reynolds is the problem. She said the tip came from someone who allegedly worked on the set and said lately everyone is bashing Blake Lively, but apparently the true villain of the saga is Ryan.
And Ryan Reynolds, childhood teacher, reached out to me, and I wasn't going to share it, but I think I have to now because it's super interesting and compelling.
Candace
for those of us that
Owens,
are
the
interested in the
outspoken
psychology
conservative known for her
of this topic.
unapologetic commentary, has once again found herself at the center of a Hollywood firestorm. This time, her focus is on none other than Ryan Reynolds, the beloved actor celebrated for his sharp wit and charm. The controversy? A legal whirlwind involving Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, and her It Ends With Us co-star, Justin Baldoni. Allegations of misconduct, defamation lawsuits, and a rumored smear campaign have turned this celebrity saga into a media spectacle, fueling endless debates and speculation.
Alleging that everything started when Ryan Reynolds decided to stroll onto the movie set one day and review the dailies. This is an industry term for all the footage that they filmed for the day. And he also decided to take a look at the script, and between the two, something allegedly set him off. This person claims that the production assistants then overheard Ryan and Blake having an argument in her trailer. Ryan Reynolds started being on the set on a regular basis as if he were her chaperone, and that is when he started inserting himself into the actual production, including writing lines. And then she says the next part was alleged in their lawsuits that Ryan and Blake, perhaps in response to her husband's anger, began inserting themselves in the effort to change lines and change scenes. And of course, the allegation that Ryan Reynolds was making fun of Justin Baldoni in his movie when he played the character Nice Pool. And we did hear this, I believe, from Justin's lawsuit, but correct me if I'm wrong, but she also says that allegedly Ryan presented an ultimatum to WME, the biggest talent agency in Hollywood.
Never one to hold back, Candace Owens has jumped into this scandal with full force, setting her sights directly on Ryan Reynolds. But what exactly did Reynolds do to land in her crosshairs? Let's break down the twists and turns of this explosive celebrity drama.
So what I've done today for you guys, I've actually built out a timeline. I will share this on Instagram after the show because the timeline really makes it clear that something very much happened when Ryan Reynolds came home because of the SAG-AFTRA strike that took place in July of 2023.
We will not be having our jobs taken away and giving to robots.
So Ryan was away from home because Deadpool was filming in Canada and England. I know way too much about this. And Blake Lively was home because It Ends With Us was filming in New Jersey and she lives in New York. So that would have been like a cab ride back and forth. So they were away from each other at the beginning of this filming.
No Balaka here today.
And in June of 2023, this is really important, things are so great between Justin and Blake. She invites him into her trailer while she was breastfeeding, okay? She's like pumping in my trailer. This is June 3rd, if you want to work out our line. So he's in there in her trailer and she is pumping. I shouldn't say breastfeeding, she's breast pumping in her trailer. And this is according to Justin's lawsuit, and he presented this evidence. So this is a fact, essentially. Nothing was wrong between Justin and Blake. You don't invite
the controversy erupted in late 2024 when Blake Lively accused her It Ends With Us co-star, Justin Baldoni, of misconduct on set. She alleged that his behavior created a hostile work environment, citing inappropriate remarks and unwanted physical advances. According to Lively, multiple women were ready to testify about Baldoni's actions during filming. However, Baldoni strongly denied the accusations, dismissing them as baseless hearsay from unnamed sources. He insisted that his interactions on set were strictly professional and nothing more.
Suddenly, just a few days after that, on June 14th, is when the Writers Guild of America begins picketing and they halt production. And Justin's lawsuit notes that it was during that lead up to the strike, the big strike, which happened in July 2023, that for the first time, Blake begins requesting to see the dailies. So it was an outrageous request, completely unorthodox, okay, for her as an actress and a producer to be requesting to see the dailies. So like, she's home now. So from this time in June until this strike ends, she is now home, but also Ryan Reynolds is home, okay? I don't know, I feel, and I obviously have no idea, but I feel Ryan said, get me all the dailies. Not saying like, send me the 3 edits or the 3 takes. She just wants the running. Do you know how much
Justin
time
Baldoni
it takes?
fired
Like, that's
back
an
with a
editor's
$400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, accusing them of defamation and extortion. He claimed the power couple used their celebrity influence to destroy his reputation, allegedly orchestrating a smear campaign that reached major outlets like the New York Times. Baldoni's legal team argued that Lively and Reynolds manipulated text messages and other communications to paint him in a negative light, sparking intense online harassment that even targeted his close associates.
Ryan Reynolds actually has a book that is published. It's not, he didn't write the book, but essentially, and this is some Comic-Con stuff, guys, like literally, like if you're deep into Marvel Universe or DC Universe, you may know about these things. I definitely did not know about these things, but they create these books, essentially, about all of the movies, and they're sort of these art books. This one's called Marvel Studios, Deadpool and Wolverine, The Art of the Movie. Essentially what that is, it's a gallery of never-before-seen artwork, which is the description, and exclusive lithographs, and in-depth interviews with the creative team. And so they sit down with these characters and the people that created them, and they ask them questions. And I am scared. I'm so scared. So I'm going to read you directly what Ryan had to say.
Candace Owens, never one to stay out of a major controversy, has now turned her attention to Ryan Reynolds. During an episode of her show, she suggested that Reynolds should be deported back to Canada, even going as far as calling his alleged actions high treason. She claimed to have received an insider tip from someone who worked on the set of It Ends With Us, alleging that Reynolds' insecurities led him to interfere with the film's production, ultimately contributing to the legal fallout.
The recent filing, we can now see that Ryan was panicked in general about him being apart from Blake Lively, so much so that when they first communicated with one another, okay, so this is the first time that Ryan Reynolds and Justin Baldoni are speaking to one another, and they're exchanging text messages, and Justin Baldoni does this thing where he's just like so nice, and was like, he literally, to sum it up, because I'm not going to read Justin's entire text, he basically is like, I was nervous to even text you, I'm such a fan of you, like, you're so great, you're amazing, your wife's amazing, and then says this like really almost first day of middle school kind of thing, where he's like, all of this to say, I know I sound ridiculous, but like, I just really want to be friends with you. Like, he literally tells Ryan he wants to be friends with you. And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy to kick in the mouth. And you'll do what I say. So I'm going to show you these exchanges. This is Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni. If you guys have not read through them, I recommend that you go on to the site to read it. He even extends like saying how wonderful Blake was because, you know, she was very nice to his wife, says that Blake sent the sweetest message to his wife. I mean, he's being so respectful, falling over himself to be respectful and to say like, hey, can we still be friends? And Ryan Reynolds then sends this text message, and he basically says like, sorry for the delay, I've been writing, the girls are sick again, whatever. Tells him essentially that he hit the jackpot with Blake Lively. She literally passes on every film and every filmmaker all the time. The one thing I know, and I speak from a deep wellspring of experience here.
She went after Ryan Reynolds again, this time for allegedly mocking the legal dispute during the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special. During a segment with hosts Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, Reynolds was casually asked how he was doing. He responded with a smirk, saying, "Great, why? What have you heard?" Owens took this as a subtle jab at the ongoing controversy, accusing Reynolds of using humor to distract from serious allegations. She later tweeted, "It's not okay to use Hollywood actors to ruthlessly bully and humiliate someone under the guise of Deadpool jokes. Ryan Reynolds, okay. But what if I walked into a room full of Hollywood elites and made just one more joke?"
Ryan Reynolds is throwing down some alpha male, and by alpha male I mean extremely beta male, I have rich and powerful friends at the top. That's not a confirmation, but I'm looking at the length of the strip and it's given Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift would say the same. My wife is wonderful, okay? Anyways, jumping back into these messages, he then moves immediately to ask Justin Baldoni to change their production dates because he's never been apart from Blake Lively so long. He basically says he tried to do it on his end. I'm paraphrasing here. You can go read it on the website. You know, I was frantically trying to address this. I was frantically trying to change this, shorten the shoot, but I can't because, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine is set in stone. They already booked the studio. But, like, could you do something to try to punt this? And he ends it with this, which is funny that we're talking about like a sexual lawsuit and what's appropriate. He ends it by saying, all this to say, I'd have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum. Okay, so that is the skin between Ryan's parts. I don't even know how to appropriately state that other than perineum. Okay, pull that back up again. I would have your line producer's face tattooed to my perineum if he, she, or they can figure out how to start 2 weeks earlier. Completely understand how big of an ask that is, but the perineum is one of the most nervy parts of the
public's
human
reaction to Owens' commentary was divided. Some agreed with her criticism, arguing that Hollywood often hides behind humor to deflect from toxic behavior. One user commented, "Hollywood loves using humor as a shield. If you're going to bully, own it. Don't hide behind scripted jokes." Others, however, felt that Owens was overstepping, inserting herself into a complex situation without knowing all the facts. As the legal battle continues, with a trial date set for March 2026, opinions remain split. Some see Blake Lively's allegations as a brave stand against misconduct, while others believe Justin Baldoni is a victim of a calculated character assassination. Meanwhile, Ryan Reynolds finds himself caught in the crossfire, not just in court, but also in the court of public opinion, where voices like Candace Owens hold significant influence.
Well, Ryan Reynolds on the Enneagram is a psycho. That's what he is. He's just a psycho. His number is psycho. And we had suspected, just by piecing together everything, that he didn't want Blake Lively to be away from him. Remember, I built out the timeline and I worked through it, and I realized that, oh, this is interesting. Like, Ryan Reynolds is filming at the same time as Blake Lively. He's also doing his Wrexham football stuff. And they're basically apart. And I'm sure he popped back a few times. But for like 4 months, scheduled to be apart in a different country. And yeah, I felt that Ryan was kicking up some dust because he didn't want to leave Blake Lively alone with Justin Baldoni because he's away in the UK. And then I was positing that perhaps when he got home, he was either reading her text messages, reading through the dailies, reading through the script, and he just decided, okay, you know what? This entire production needs to be halted. I don't trust my wife, okay? And my strongest inclination for that was the fact that on the day that the SAG-AFTRA strike ended, on the day that both of them had to go back to work, meaning Ryan had to go back to film for Wolverine and Deadpool, Wayfarer gets that shocking email of demands, and basically their production gets suspended while Ryan gets to go in the UK and feel confident knowing that she's not going to see Justin Baldoni.
This saga highlights the complexities of the post-Me Too era, where accusations can quickly escalate into public trials shaped by media and opinion leaders. As for Candace Owens, her latest target has given her plenty of material for her signature, sharp, and relentless criticism, ensuring that the intersection of Hollywood and political commentary remains as turbulent as ever.
At least aware of why his quote-unquote best friend, Ryan Reynolds, was writing in all of these lines, especially because we did the timeline and we showed you that this was not initially supposed to be a part of their principal filming, and then they went back and they did some filming after the SAG-AFTRA strike, and somebody had admitted that they had done all of that dog pool filming. I said dog poo. That too, dog pool filming at the very end of the movie. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. Hugh would have known exactly what his best friend was thinking, especially because it wasn't a part of the larger plot of the movie. Hugh Jackman was also in the now infamously cringe It Ends With Us promotional skit that had nothing to do with promoting the movie, which was about domestic violence, where Ryan directed it and he brought in his mom and Blake was in the background. We learned that, but he also brought in his best friend because he just wanted a little bit of A-list power there. And when you're really obviously trying to be a high school bully, you want to be like, we're the cool kids and you're nothing. What better way to make
Candace
him
Owens
uncomfortable
isn't stopping
than
at
to
Ryan
promote
Reynolds.
his
She's
movie?
making it her mission to expose what she sees as Hollywood's hypocrisy. She has framed this entire controversy as yet another example of elites protecting their own, only turning on them when it becomes convenient. According to Owens, Reynolds is just the latest celebrity caught in a tangle of legal and social consequences, and she's openly questioning whether the justice system will hold him accountable or if Hollywood will once again shield one of its own.
No, it's not every day a guy gets to interview the love interest of his best friend's wife, and the guy trying to replace Ryan as a husband and me as his best mate.
Holy
What the hell are you doing messing with my best buddy's wife?
Sir, I have no idea what's happening.
at all today.
And so I also want to remind you that Hugh Hefner then appeared at the It Ends With Us premiere. Again, not his movie. Kind of weird that he's hitting the red carpet with them. He obviously knows what is going on. What would that conversation have been on the way to the premiere as they made Justin Baldoni go really, really early and then stuffed him in the basement? Again, this was all just meant to be a power display, and Hugh Jackman played a role in it. He did. So he was one of the unnamed dragons, if you will, in all of this. And it looks like for that, he is being awarded for his contributions with a deposition. All right, so check out this headline. You can see the Daily Mail. It says, surprising new twist in Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni legal battle as Hugh Jackman is pulled into the saga. And then it tells us that according to a source, Hugh Jackman is going to be deposed before the trial because Baldoni's legal team wants to get the full scope of Reynolds' conduct during the time that It Ends With Us was being filmed. An insider also told the Mail that, quote, Hugh will be deposed if this goes to trial. There is no way that he cannot. Baldoni's legal team is doing everything they need to get a full scope of Ryan's conduct during the time that It Ends With Us was filmed.
Calling Ryan Reynolds a smug liberal who preaches morality but conveniently ignores it when facing his own controversies. She accused him of hiding behind humor, using his public persona as a shield rather than addressing the serious allegations against him and Blake Lively. This is how Hollywood operates, she ranted. They joke, they deflect, they gaslight the public into thinking nothing happened until they can quietly move. On to their next blockbuster.
Ryan Reynolds' bromances, his various bromances over the years. We've talked about him and Jake Gyllenhaal, and obviously this has been a bromance that has been very much thrown in the public's face. Ryan's kind of perpetually highly publicizing his bromances is something that I find to be quite strange, right? Mostly because he's a 48-year-old man, Ryan Reynolds. He has 4 kids. And he seems to dedicate a lot of time and resources, like financial resources, to trying to convince the public that these bromances are perfectly normal. And we're not really asking for that convincing. Like, I don't need people to convince me that guys can hang out with one another, but he feels like he has to make that effort. So he's like, nothing's weird here, nothing's weird. Bromances are so normal. I mean, notoriously, that's the reason why he flew out Liz Plank, Justin Baldoni's podcast partner, flew her all the way over, presumably to the UK, to provide her expert testimony as to why bromances are like totally chill, right? They're totally okay. Remember, here's what she had to say in his Wrexham documentary about that.
The definition of the word romance is just, it's a platonic relationship between 2 men. There's no female equivalent to the term romance. The female equivalent is friends. And so the fact that we need a term to describe 2 men going out to dinner, I think, is very revealing about what men are allowed or are not allowed to do and how much self-policing there is when it comes to their relationships with other men. So bromance is almost this permission for men to connect and to show
her
love
audience
to each
ate it
other.
up. Social media erupted with heated debates. Some believed Owens had a valid point, while others accused her of chasing clout. Conservatives rallied behind her, arguing that Hollywood elites like Ryan Reynolds have gotten a free pass for too long. Meanwhile, critics dismissed her claims, pointing out that Owens is known for stirring controversy and questioning whether she had any real insight into the case. Through it all, Reynolds has remained mostly silent. Aside from his subtle jab on Saturday Night Live, he has avoided direct commentary, leaving his lawyers to handle the legal battle. But that hasn't stopped speculation. Has the usually untouchable Ryan Reynolds finally met his match? Could this be the start of a larger unraveling for one of Hollywood's most beloved figures? Or is this just another media circus that will fade once the next scandal takes over? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Candace Owens isn't backing down anytime soon.